Yeah.
The bass lines, all that stuff.
Oh man, it's.
So I'm stoked for that because I want to get people dancing that night. You know?
Oh yeah, you already know. It's gonna be lit that night.
It's a nice mix, man. Yeah, and we got some raffles going on and all that.
Yeah, cause I remember with the Halloween one. Oh man, that was like I felt like that was in the '80s. With the Halloween show last year.
Yeah, the Halloween one's what's up. I'm excited to do that one again next year. That's the one.
Oh yeah, I'm signing earlier. I'm gonna, hey, I want this date.
I won't be surprised if I start getting them real early for next year's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those special event ones do fill up fast though.
Yeah.
Right now it's been hot. I think the little bit of a melt we're having out there is getting people excited because I've been all of a sudden just getting just swamped, man.
Oh yeah.
There's so many requests for spots, which I love.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. We're gonna talk about this many times.
Yeah. Don't need to waste it all.
Yeah. Hello. What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Lil. Oh, hold on. This ain't even recording. All right, there you go. About to get started. Check. Hello. All right, y'all. It's your boy, Lil L, and we are here live on the NSYNC Era podcast. Yes, NSYNC Era podcast, everybody. Woo. But today we live. We're in Holland, Michigan, at the historic Park Theater.
Yes.
Right now. We're right here, right now. Y'all see it right now. Let me introduce myself. It's your boy, Lil L. I'm the host, artist activist, music architect, and I do a little bit of everything. And today we got a special guest.
Oh, man.
In royalty. Man, listen. We have here, this man has showed me so much love, so much respect. He put me on in Holland. You know what I'm saying? Got to give you flowers.
That's what we're doing.
Man, you know what? Introduce yourself, man.
Hey, my name's Jair. And just one name, like Cher, but Jair.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go with that. And, I'm the Vibe and Inspiration Director here at Park Theater. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm also the host and event coordinator of Park Theater Open Mic, as you know. So, yeah, man, we do a lot of cool stuff out here.
Nice.
Bringing the culture to Holland, that's what it's about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Opening some minds, you know. Widening some perspectives, hopefully. You know, all that good stuff.
Nice. So, I want to, before we forget with the questions here, I want to tell you, the Insecure podcast is about having a conversation, not an interview. We want you to feel like you're having a conversation. You're at home. So it's like we don't want it to be systematic. Oh, what's your top five?
Sure.
We don't do that around here. We want to drop gems. Our goal is to drop gems. Our goal is to shift the culture, and at the same time, be able to provide any resources and information to other artists that are starting, that want to get started, that want to, just grow beyond just their four walls.
Yeah, man.
Because it's people out there that's in their homes right now that used to be just like me, just sitting there, just holding this, but didn't know where to go to. I know for me, myself, I still continue to grind to get connection, to grind to put myself out there. And I want to make it a little bit easier for the ones that's coming behind me, that's coming behind us. And at the same time, just like how they say, oh, well, these so-called industry connects, they got connects. Well, us as independent, we can have connects too. You are connected. You just have to unlock it. So
sure, I like it.
That's how this is gonna happen today.
All right.
I want to say to everybody, Park Theater. I remember by buddies, the band Merovingian.
Hey,
love y'all.
Shout out, yeah.
They put me on. They put a good word in for me, and everything else is history. And I want to just shout out to you guys and give you guys your flowers. I miss talking to you guys. I know y'all been busy. I've been busy, but we're gonna do something. Now, let's go a little bit back. I want to know, when did you have that passion and you start saying, okay, I want to do art? Because for me, as like an artist activist, I look at all forms of art. I don't just say like, okay, well, just music. Every music, painting, that's all art. Of course, everybody's gonna have different, gatekeeping subcategories for distinguishing everything. But when did you know, and when did you feel that passion rise up against you? I mean, not against you, but rise up in you, to be able to express it.
Oh man, well, I would say like, as a little kid, everyone was always saying like, Jair, saying I was going to be an artist, thinking I was drawing a lot as a kid, being artistic was always something I was interested in. I was always particular in how my room was set up, how my outfits were put together, all that stuff. I was very particular about all that, and try to always have my own vibe with all that stuff, my own, take my own spin on any of those things. But so I always knew I was going to be an artist, right? And then like around high school, I was trying to find some way to like turn that into a job, like a career to shoot for. And so in high school, I was thinking I was going to do graphic design. And, that kind of played into the drawing thing and stuff. But what it was is it's just like a little too, you're fulfilling someone else's, idea. You're bringing their idea to life. And I just needed something a little more me or whatever, And so I just started. I guess I just decided not to do college. I had a band going though. Throughout my teens though, around that same time though, I'm getting into all that. I was like starting like basement bands and garage bands, these things, with my friends. I started really getting into. I was just a teenager with a chip on my shoulder and stuff. So heavy metal was like the thing I first gravitated to. I was really into like 80s thrash metal and stuff like that. And so I used to go to tons of shows like that, and then, just meeting some like-minded buddies that like that stuff, we try to, do our own thing with some of the sounds we were hearing. And we started trying to make like some thrashy metal stuff, but we weren't that good yet, but it was fun, it was learning a lot of things, a lot of sweaty basement nights, and stuff with Mountain Dew and Doritos and stuff like that, But man, and then I don't know how much you want me to break it down, but then we hit like 18, 19. I start meeting like some people that like maybe take it a little more seriously. Get into like my first like serious band, I guess you would say, which was a band called the Vandry.
Okay. And
that was pretty cool. It started out as like a psychedelic rock kind of band, very influenced by like the Doors, the Beatles, Pink Floyd, things like that. Things like that. And then that band just kind of evolved into kind of a party band over the years, because as soon as we started kind of playing out in the bars, we just started kind of really favoring getting the crowd hyped up and all that stuff. And so that was fun for a while, and it went crazy, man. And I paid a lot of my dues, I would say, in that band. I was in that band for like 5 years or so, and did like a lot of my craziest musical stuff I've ever done with that band. Like some of the craziest stories and the biggest name drops I could do, or involved with that project. But yeah, it just evolved into like a party band, man. And then it was another thing where like it wasn't really getting my creative. It wasn't me and enough me, like the graphic design thing, to bring it full circle. Just I needed to put something with my own flair on it more. So, I started jamming with my brother as that band was kind of fizzling, and then that became Brother Adams, which is a band I still have to this day, and we've been together.
Shout out Bryce.
Yeah, shout out my brother Bryce. He plays electric guitar and sings with me in that band. And then we got Loveless on drums. But Brother Adam's been around since like 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. So quite a long time now. And that's cool. That's like a psychedelic rock trio thing, and we're kind of all over the place, So I like to say psychedelic rock because I just feel like that's kind of a nice broad genre, if you will. And yeah, man. And then, now I've been doing, a lot of people might know me for the kind of hip hop thing I've been doing a little bit. And I just go by Jair for that. And that's something that was birthed out of COVID. Like, just having, like, not being able to get together with Brother Adams, not being able to write with other people and all that stuff. I just started playing around with some apps and stuff like that. You know, it was honestly started writing some beats on some free apps and stuff just for shits.
Yep.
Then I started showing some friends, you know, and they're like, "Oh, that's kind of dope." And so then it got me excited about it, and I started putting more time into it. And really, I wasn't really like, it was the you know, the thing I always say about, like, so Brother Adams has always been like, and we're getting less and less like this, I guess, but we've always been trying to, like, I feel like I've made a big point of being like artsy or like metaphorical, or have like these concepts and through lines that are all deep and really well thought out, and really think out like my lyrics, like and make sure I'm using like good words or whatever, all that stuff. But you know, I'm getting a little more cut and dry with it, and just trying to like capture like a vibe, like, you know, through the hip hop project. That's kind of what I've kind of been learning is. Now I'm at a place like creatively where I just want to like capture a vibe a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like I'm in a moment and I want to get that moment down, like on paper and you know, in a beat and in a rhyme or whatever it is, a melody. And so that's kind of carried over into Brother Adams too, you know. And we're writing some like little, maybe more straightforward is the way to put it. But not to say that we've lost our edge in any way. But you know, it's all edgy and a little eclectic. I don't know, man. I could ramble on and on. You could stop me though.
No, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
Oh man.
But like, it's I had a graphic design class in college. I wasn't going like for like, if you say one subject specifically. I was going visual communications. And
yeah, that's what I was doing.
Man, I'm just gonna be. I hated my college graphic design teacher. I hate it because the reason why is because it's like this, right? For me, I feel like I'm a non-conformist, so I do things the way they were not designed, and I'm making my own design.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
the thing is that.
Sounds like we can relate on that.
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
Like we're doing posters or whatever we're doing, right? And so I'm like, okay. Usually how I do it is, if I'm gonna make a poster or anything, I just go to Adobe After Effects, cut, paste, add whatever, and it's good. She said, "Oh no, you have to use Photoshop," and I'm like, "It's not a difference. It's the same thing."
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. And it's just like this. I just learned. It's crazy, right? I just learned about like, punk rock DIY flyers and zines.
Yeah.
And literally, I just learned, honestly, yesterday, I just learned that they took different, you know, they basically, it was like a montage. They took different letters, cut them out of magazines, and then other drawings. Then they scan their drawing, then they print it back up, then they paste that on. It's like, no matter what, the job is going to get done. The job is going to get done, and that's how I look at it. And so when you said graphic design, I was like, oh, we relate so well with that.
Man, I mean, I did good in that class and stuff, you know, but it was, it was a lot of that, you know. I like to do things my own way, you know. I can definitely relate to that DIY, like punk aesthetic, you know. And that's how I approach a lot of, you know, a lot of what I do in my music and all that now, you know.
Amazing. Another thing that just popped up in my head. I'll say for me, and then I'll open the floor up for you.
Yeah, man.
For me, I am an outcast. And so the thing is that normally how like we said, other people do things, or like, because it's something, I'm an eccentric person. So it's like, for me, the way I dress, kind of like the way I dress, the way I talk, the way I walk, the way I speak, you know, how I gain information, what I put out there, how I express myself.
Sure.
And a lot of artists, you know, they are shunned, they are looked at as weird, or, you know, it's whatever the nature is, right?
Yeah.
The thing that I found out with myself is, especially with the fan base, shout out to Northwest Indiana, my in-person fan base, Northwest Indiana, that that's a sea of outcasts. Like, that's a sea, a cesspool of outcasts. And it's something, it is something amazingly special about us as as outcasts, how we display ourselves and express ourselves with our art. Tell me when it clicked in your head that, okay, wait, it's something unique about me because I don't gravitate towards just any crowd.
Oh man, that's something. I mean, I would say at this point in my life, I can gravitate towards any. I mean, I like to think I'm a person who can bring people together a little bit.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
I'm big on celebrating differences, and you know what? I'll speak to like what you were saying about like how you think about you're thinking about how you're talking about how you gain information and how you put it all out there, and for me, kind of on that note, that just made me think of. I've kind of realized like all this art stuff, whether it be drawing, graphics, whatever it is, like I'm doing, it's all part of the journey in the sense that, it's all like, I kind of look at it as like these little social experimentations,
Yes.
a little society, like, I want to see what the reaction is, put it that way,
Yes.
How will people react to me doing this? How will people react to this sound or that thing, and then that's all, it's like an experiment, like I'm saying, I want that information, and then I take that into the next thing I'm doing, and move forward. And that's what it's all about. It's about learning about myself. It's about learning about the world around me, That's why I'm out here expressing myself. And I think that self-expression is like one of the best ways to do that, to kind of, learn about the world and understand yourself better.
Yes, yes.
That's why I do it.
That's amazing. And like when you said about bringing people together, for myself, I learned that I am interested in different, whether it be cultures, different ways of life. Like I've had many acquaintances from different walks of life, and that I learned a lot from. And just within just my journey, it's not like, okay, I'm going to plan. No, it's not everything. Just like when people say, oh, well, the parents didn't have everything planned. Parents didn't have everything seed out. It's like what you attract and how do you express yourself, how you display yourself is what you're going to gain back. And
sure.
Just like with open mics, like this open mic at Park Theater is open. Like there's many different styles, many different performers, everything.
Yes.
That's the thing I like about it,
man.
And like for me, and I have to keep shouting out Northwest Indiana, because for me, I didn't see that till I went out of Michigan, then it came back. But I feel like I came back doing things in the right timing, and just seeing just that expression, because I feel like for me, I can only speak for me. Just the little things can inspire me. Just the little things.
Oh, I'm big on the little things.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. On that note of the Outcast thing, I guess if anything, like what I could say to that is, one thing I did realize about myself that maybe, I kind of have leaned into over the years is, like in high school, I noticed, like, I don't know what it was like for you, but I was kind of like the floater kid. I could hang out with the jocks or like the metalheads or whatever it was. I was talking about being a metalhead and all that stuff earlier, but and that was a big part of what I was doing back then. But I could hang out with anybody, and I always liked that and prided myself on that. And over the years, I've prided myself on that even more so, And you look around, you don't see everybody doing that mingling thing. And I would love to see more of that. People just being open to other people that maybe don't look exactly like them or act like them or whatever it is. Because there's lots of, it's another way to learn more about the world, man. Like, if you're surrounding yourself with people that look and act just like you, it's gonna be hard to learn.
Boring.
It's gonna, not only is it gonna be boring, but it's gonna, exactly. Though. I think that's my first, as a kid, that's probably what it was for me. That's just boring, But then over the years, you go, man, that's just not even the way to learn, So that's why that is a thing, I love about this open mic is, man, it's diverse, it's eclectic, and we're talking the Lakeshore, Holland, Michigan.
Yeah,
like the fact that it's like that is kind of like unbelievable, because that's not what you're always seeing around here. Just to be truthful about it. So that's something I absolutely adore about what we got going in this community. Is it's a place where people really. I've been saying this lately. People come in here and they don't want to spoil the vibe, man. People want to come in here and be positive and be constructive and celebrate each other's differences.
Yes.
And that's the kind of, those are the things about this open mic that are getting me really excited. And those are the things that I want to find ways as a community builder to like bring those mindsets to the community in other ways and other parts of the community that aren't necessarily an open mic, and we're already seeing like kind of that happening on its own, because this place like kind of has this vibe where it's a party, and so it attracts like people who wouldn't necessarily be at an open mic per se, at your average open mic.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's one of the benefits, you know, and that's one of the pluses, and one of the things I'm again trying to lean into a little more, because I love seeing that, and you know, I like to think people are going away from this open mic being not only like a better audience member at other shows or whatever it is, but like going out in the world and, you know, just encouraging and empowering people around them to be themselves and express themselves, and just being a little more open-minded, you know. I hope that's the mark we're leaving on this community.
Definitely.
Yeah, man.
Listen, every time since I stepped foot in here, I feel like I'm on TV. Like, I'm being honest. Like, I feel like I am on TV.
Love to hear it.
Because when I first heard about you guys, literally, I would look at the videos and the trailers or whatever of like what recently happened like in that week, and I'm like,
shout out my wife Heidi, by the way.
Yes.
With the pictures and the videos.
She the GOAT. She the GOAT.
She coming through for me with that, man. We really tag team that. She helps me get that vibe out, you know, let people know what's going on around here. Those pictures and videos are valuable.
Oh, yes.
It's good to capture those moments.
Definitely. And it's like, you know, especially how she, like you said, shoots it, films it, and everything.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm a young old head. So it's like when I see like different things of that nature, it gets me excited because I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I feel like I'm going back in time, but still in the present and just reliving it.
Oh, man.
Like, that's how I felt like that, because
I love to hear that. That's awesome.
When I stepped on this stage, I was so nervous. It was a good nervous.
That's hard to hear. Not hard to hear, surprising to hear. Because you're a confident dude.
Thank you.
You know?
Like, and because for me, if I'm not nervous for a show, to me it's a bad sign, because like, I feel like I'm just gonna go out there and just like half-ass it. Like,
I hear you.
You know, and so I remember like, as I was right out, and you know where I go every time before I'm right there. I am right there doing jumping jacks or something of that nature, getting pumped up, just pumping my adrenaline up. And I remember like, you was ready? And I was like, yeah. And I went out there and it was all she wrote. But
It was.
So the open mic, how did you get connected with the open mic?
Oh, man. So, you know, I was, let's see. So it goes like 5 years back or so, you know, like I have, you know, just to give you a little context here, you know, in my 20s, I was playing a lot of music, paying a lot of my dues musically, all that good stuff, my band, The Vandry, all that. But then I also had a shitload of kids in that time. So it was a whirlwind, man. My 20s were wild. I wasn't exactly living the most intentionally in my 20s, I'll say that. And but I learned a lot. And but now, you know, I had a bunch of kids in my late 20s. Now I'm 34 now. And so that's my late 20s when I first kind of started doing the open mics. And what happened was I was, you know, just playing some shows, like playing covers, acoustic guitar, playing like classic rock and country covers, and you know, pubs and stuff like that. You know, there was a little brewery locally where I first started. I played a show there, and I left that show going like, it was a newer venue, and I left that spot convinced like, hey, this community, and that's in Zeeland, Michigan, just like, you know, 10 minutes away from here.
Yeah.
And you know, I was convinced that brewery could use an open mic, and so could the community, you know. And also, not only did I love going to open mics and all that stuff, but like I say, that's why I was saying I had some kids and stuff. I needed to make some extra money.
Yeah.
So really, I was just looking for a side hustle, if I'm being real about
Gotcha.
it. I was looking for a side hustle, and I thought, you know, I love open mics. I've gone to some really cool ones in Grand Rapids and stuff that I really enjoyed. Yeah. Shout out to Sam Kenny. Shout out to Nick James Tomsma. So like Sam Kenny ran like the Tip Top one and like a bunch of other ones out in Grand Rapids, and then Nick James ran the Founders one back then. And I was like really inspired by those guys. I really loved the community they were building. I hadn't seen anything like that. Like it was a while before I really started seeing that kind of thing, you know. And those guys were a big part of, I don't know. I just love the way they did what they did. Let's put it that way.
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
And so, I saw this opportunity, and it was just that, like the next day, I confidently put this. Well, I don't know how confident I was, but I put together what sounded like a confident email and a confident pitch. And either way, I took authority on the issue, and I just like went for it. I was shooting my shot.
Yes.
And that was like a first step into kind of like this new era of kind of my life, I guess now. So I I took my shot there, and they were down, and a couple weeks later, I'm hosting an open mic, my first open mic, and that was pretty cool, man. And that one lasted like 6 months, dude. It lasted like 6 months because they did not like my crowd, bro.
What?
Let's just say like I say, this is West Michigan. There's certain, I don't know. I like to be very inclusive with the crowds I draw, and that's not everyone's goal. That's kind of the best way to say it. So that's why where we clashed heads, I'd say. And then fortunately, there was like another venue owner locally that had been watching what I was doing, got wind of this whole scenario, and was like, "Hey, we love what you're doing. Bring it to our spot."
Yes.
And kind of the way they said it to me was we want you to bring in the riff rap,
Yeah.
I was like, that's awesome, because that's what I did.
Yeah.
Like, it's gotta be eclectic. It's just gotta be everybody's welcome, whether they smell like weed or they're dressed in all black or whatever the fuck it is,
Right.
As long as they're cool and respecting everybody and showing love, that's what it's about.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what they look like or any of that stuff, And I think that's where, I butted heads with the first venue.
Right.
But anyways, we get it going at the second venue, right? That's Elbow Room. I'll give them love. The first venue can remain unnamed.
Gotcha.
But Elbow Room was in Zealand, and that was dope, man. I was doing it for a few years there. Really building something beautiful, man. It was like a small version of what we got going on here at the Park Theater. It was a lot of standing room only nights because it was a very small room. And, it was very eclectic, though. We started getting a lot of people from Grand Rapids coming in and surrounding cities just to, like, little old Zealand, which is unheard of. And it was popping, It was quite a vibe. It was a party, man. And that was Thursday nights, if I remember right. And, for Zealand, it was really unheard of. It was really different and unique. And I was getting really excited about what was happening. And just, running an open mic, you really start to, like... you get this certain role in that community if you're doing it right, or at least the way I've been doing it. Like, you start to kind of like connect with people in a way you never really expected. You think of it, like I was saying, at first I thought of it as a side hustle. Next thing you know, I'm like making awesome lifelong friends at this point. I'm like my whole social circle's like evolving, through this, in a great way too. Like, I'm getting more excited about life because I'm meeting people that are like-minded, And that was awesome. And it became this snowball to kind of end up where we're at today. That venue would have probably kept going for a while, but what happened there was COVID shut them down, unfortunately. But it was another thing where another venue was like kind of watching, looking what I was doing and kind of digging it. That was the Park Theater. Yes. So Park Theater reaches out, and they're like, as soon as, things were opening up after COVID, they go, "Hey, man, we've been watching what you're doing. We love it. We need to kind of revamp our open mic, refresh it, kick it back into gear." And so next thing you know, I'm over here doing it, and I got this big old beautiful venue to work with, and a great team, and great sound system and lights. And I mean, I couldn't be more grateful for this opportunity. And at the time, I didn't even know how much of an opportunity. I was already like unbelievably stoked that I was involved in any way, because I've loved this place. This is like the hometown spot for like original music here for me. I grew up playing here. My like I said, my band, the Vandria I was talking about earlier, was playing here back in the day, Ooh. So I love this spot, and to be in the fold in that way, it was a total honor. But another thing, it's just kind of snowballed, and all these windows and doors have opened throughout, like, me being here. I've been here for a little over a year and a half now, doing the Park Theater open mic, and I was brought on as the host of Park Theater open mic, but now it's grown into this role where I'm the vibe and inspiration director here.
Nice.
Which is cool, and I guess the best way to put that in a nutshell is this thing. I've been saying a lot of little catchphrases lately. I don't know what it is, man, but like, it's kind of like this. I've been I was always getting on stage. You know, I always wanted to be a rock star, right?
Mhm.
I always wanted to be a rock star. But the more and more, more and more, I feel like I'm getting on stage to make everybody else feel like rock stars. You know, I'm in the game to make everybody else feel. And it just kind of started happening that way. It wasn't like something I, consciously thought of, but then when I kind of realized that mind shift was happening, that's when I kind of also saw my career going in a positive direction. That's when I saw my life going in a more positive direction. I could really start ranting here, and I will a little, because I keep seeing like this. There's this popular thing lately. This just makes me think of this. So you can stop me if I'm going too crazy with this one.
I'm listening.
But I've been seeing a lot of people saying this stuff like, I'm gonna it is important to focus on yourself, self-love, all that's important. I would not talk shit about any of that, right? But when I see people out here saying like they've been giving too much of themselves and stuff, I mean, are you Mother Teresa? Like, have you really given too much of yourself? I find it hard to believe, or maybe you're doing it the wrong way or giving too much of yourself to the wrong people. I can see that. You're giving yourself in the wrong places, but I don't think you can give too much of yourself, no. That's where people got it a little wrong, I think, Maybe you are giving too much of yourself to the wrong places, the wrong people.
Right.
It's the wrong energy, but there's no way you're giving too much of yourself. The more you give, the better you're going to feel. The more positive it's going to be impacting your life. That's how I feel about it right now. And that's kind of like I'm not perfect with that. I'm not always on that tip. But the more and more I can kind of live that way, I feel like it's just been more and more positive for me. The more I put the collective experience first, the better things have been. I think that comes through running shows. Honestly, it comes through putting on shows. You like I say, it's easy to get up here and like make it all about you and try to be a badass on stage and be a rock star. But if you really put everyone in the room, kind of first. There's just something so much more magical about that, and you have to, as a showrunner, you have to put everybody else first. It's about making everybody have a good time, right? That's how you have a successful event. And so I think through doing that, I started realizing, man, like I want that to rub off on my life, because I love what we're doing here. And it's another thing where I learned so much from running. I've learned so much from running open mics and putting on events like this, because it's that collective experience thing. And I think any of those vibes that we can take out into the world and the community beyond an open mic, that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm looking for those opportunities. I'm hungry for those opportunities.
Nice. Amazing. I just want to say something right now.
Yeah, man.
And even to the ones that's just listening to this, like if they're at work or whatever or anything like that, like if you just got the phone somewhere on autopilot and like you just got your earphone, your bud, whatever, listen to me. If you are at this moment right now, I'm telling you right now, don't give up. Don't give up. Seriously. I know how it feels. Don't give up. Because you might be so close to that breakthrough. But because you gave up at try number 11, try 12, you already would have had it. Don't give up.
Yeah, man. Can I add on to that?
Go ahead,
I know I've been talking a lot.
No. Go ahead.
On that subject, on that kind of mindset, on that kind of thinking, I think what makes people give up is what makes people feel discouraged a lot of the time is getting caught up in expectations. I think that I've been my biggest obstacle in life because of that. A lot of the time, it can be small things as like the example I like to give is, I'll get on stage and I'll hit a bad note, or somebody else will, one of my bandmates, whatever, miss a lyric, whatever, and all of a sudden it pisses me off, and I let it just take over the whole show. But that's another thing where, man, that's about me then. That's not taking the rest of the room, and putting them first. And just because you wanted, something to go a certain way, if it doesn't mean it went bad. It just means it went different than what you expected. Like, that's what I'm saying. I always wanted to be a rock star. I guess I kind of, maybe some of this is, like, I had to accept that I'm 34 and it's not happening. It hasn't happened yet. I haven't become a rock star per se yet, for sure. I've done a lot of great, very cool, notable things that I would love to brag about or whatever, or I'm proud of or whatever it is. But, I didn't see myself becoming like this open mic host, vibe and inspiration director guy. Like that wasn't my plan per se. But the more I kind of let that happen, the more I kind of live in the now and just let the moment take me, you know, I guess. Not to be too like wax too like lyrical about it, but you know, it's just that getting caught up in expectations to me. I think there's nothing healthy about that. Just take the ride, man, and like do the best in the moment that you can, because like, you know, maybe you wanted to be this one thing, but you don't always know what's best for yourself, you know? That's one thing I've had to let go of, is I don't always know what's best for myself, and that's okay. That's the best. I would say some of the most things I'm most proud of in my career have been like unexpected. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't what I was shooting for. And that's where we're at now. You know, this is where I'm at now. I would be so stoked as a teenager knowing this is where I ended up, but it's not what I thought I was going to do. I thought I was going to be in some metal band, but my mind's grown, and I've gotten to different types of music, and you know, yada yada yada, family. Here we are, and now, you know, I'm learning. You know, it took this long, but I'm really learning. It's not about being a rock star, and maybe the real rock stars are the ones who want to make everyone else feel like a rock star. Yeah.
I like that. I want to give you flowers right now. I already gave you, but I'm gonna keep giving to you.
Oh man.
I just want to say something, like, honestly, like real talk. Now, this is I'm gonna say it like this, because I'm never a type person that's like, I can't tell you. I can only tell from my point of view of how you inspire me. I can't tell you exactly who you are, because only you know who you are. But I say, for me looking and from other people looking, like, even though, like you say, like you want to be a rock star and whatever the caliber and whatever that nature is, you are a rock star. Like, bro, like for real, you are a rock star. Because the thing about it is, it's like, and I know, like I said, whatever not the expectation, but the different criteria that you say that would make you a rock star, you know, that's all on you. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you what's the criteria, but I can only say that you are a rock star. You know what I'm saying? Within the community, within everything you've done. Because that's I'm just saying that's the inspiration behind it, because, you know, I mean, you paved the way for me and other people, like, you know what I'm saying, in this community. So it's like, you know, if anything, like, in all honesty, like you as far as to us, to me, like you rock star to me, like, you know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that, man. You know, I appreciate that, and I do. You know, I think there's some cool things that I'm getting to do for the community, and it's hard for me to like go and take credit for too much. But all I was really trying to say is that I think happiness often lives outside of expectations. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's the root of it all.
No, yeah,
right?
I agree. I just had to give you flowers. I was like, hey, let me get to toss them up.
Because I know I've been rambling like all over the place.
No,
it's kind of
you're
been all
fine.
over.
We love this, man.
But it's
like,
you know,
when I'm quiet, I'm listening. We love this. You don't gotta apologize for none of this. This is a different type of audience. You giving gems right now. Like we need this.
Man,
like, honestly,
because we're going through different phases of the joint I smoked before I was here, you know.
It's okay. It's all right.
So it's like,
it's all right.
It's like we went from like, man, I'm the one to self-analyze a podcast while I'm on a podcast, man.
It's okay. It's okay.
There's me not being in the moment, maybe though.
No,
you know?
you're in it, because it's of now. Like you're in it. Like,
see, it's something I'm working on. I'm gonna say that. You know, all this stuff I'm talking about, it's stuff that I wouldn't say I'm perfect at any of it.
Oh, none of us.
Absolutely not.
None of us.
In fact, it's probably my biggest struggles, and that's why you know, it's so up front in my mind, you know, to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing about, like, that's why I said this is, even though like to a person, I'm like, all right, like, you know, can I interview you, whatever, like, just to like get them to be prepared for it. And it's like, once it's the conversation aspect goes, then they're like, he's all like, oh, okay, like, you know. But the next thing,
yeah, man,
talk to me about lunch break, man.
Oh my goodness gracious. So yeah, that's that might have been like the second track of like the solo Jair kind of hip hop flavored stuff I've been doing. That video, so that's interesting too, because like I assume you're kind of referencing the video and all that as a whole. But that video came from a different like videographer. Like all my videos are from my brother, I guess. Shout out Bryce once again.
Shout out
My
Bryce.
brother Adams. Him and I have collaborated on like 99.9% of my content, except for like that one video.
Nice.
So that one was Zach Clark. Shout out Clark Camera and Cinema. I think
Clark.
Yeah. So, and my sister's on that track, and it's if you listen to that track, so it opens with these lyrics, and it's like, listening to Lizzo, and I'm dancing around the deli, smoke a J out in the parking lot with Jeremy.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so we picked up my sister from work, and she got in the car. It was me and my wife, and she said, I was dancing. What'd she say? I was listening. She goes, so I was listening to Lizzo and I was dancing around the deli, and I was like, that sounds like a beginning of a lyric to me for whatever reason. But you know what that's like, right? You just hear something, and you're like, oh, that could work.
Yep.
That could work. So she just literally said that. I was listening to Lizzo. I was dancing around the deli, and I was like, listening to Lizzo, and I'm dancing around the deli, and then smoke a J out in a parking lot with Jeremy and Heidi. Yeah. And I just went. That's that's another thing. Like normally I would have never written some shit like that. Like back in the old, I would have tried to be. That's just too silly and straightforward. But that's a part of my personality, man. I'm a goofball, and I'm also a dude who likes to smoke a lot of weed.
Yes,
and I hang out with my sister and my wife, and that's true. It doesn't always have to be like some big story of war and romance and whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to. And I think there's something more genuine about where I'm at with my writing. Even as silly as that song is, I think stuff like that's kind of important that I did it because, like, for my creative journey, that is, because it's getting me to a place where I'm just not overthinking it. I'm not getting caught up in expectations. I'm not going like, what are people going to think of this? Or what kind of song am I trying to make? I'm just letting inspiration hit me and just capturing that. That's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to capture a vibe. I thought of that lyric, and, I think in the past I would have just thought, oh, that's funny, and joke about it for like years with my sister.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it be funny if... And now all that, wouldn't it be funny if stuff, I'm just doing that shit.
Yes, sir.
I'm not letting it be ifs,
Yes, sir.
So, and that's awesome. And that's been really liberating and empowering. And, and it's cool, I think, to show off this like unfiltered version of myself at this point. I'm feeling a lot more comfortable in my own skin throughout the years. And, you're talking about the eccentric stuff. One day I'll be dressed in a tracksuit. Next day I'll be dressed in, like in a cowboy hat and some boots.
Yes, sir.
It's just being yourself. Man, there's different shades to my personality. I'm not going to be one thing.
Right.
I'm just not going to be. And so that's lunch break. That's where that's kind of part of where that starts. That was one of the first tracks that I did with this project. And, then I just went all the way in, man. I hired a videographer, and just went all the way, put it out. And since then, I've done most of my videos with my brother, but it's been in the same spirit, man. Just like, don't overthink it. Just go like, don't worry about what other people are going to think. It's really, this is another thing too, kind of on that tip. And because I've realized like throughout the years, like, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is if I feel good, if something makes me feel good, I'm going to let it happen.
Right.
Right? And no matter if I think someone might think it's weird or whatever. And, the example I was going to make is, I often make this example, but, like in Brother Adams, I'll say, if I'm in the studio recording a bass take, it might not be my best one. But if I felt good when I was doing it, or I looked at my brother and there was like a little inside joke going on or something, and I remember that and I can feel that when I listen to it, even if there's a little mistake in it or whatever, that's the take I want to go with at this point in my life, because there's like that good feeling attached to it.
Yes.
And that's that thing about, again, not getting caught up in expectations, man. If I mess up on stage, back to that, and I let it affect me, the crowd's going to feel that energy. The crowd's going to feel that negative energy. They're going to see, and not only feel it, but they're probably going to see me glaring, going to see my energy just like visually dying down, getting whatever. But I could laugh it off, and then they're going to laugh it off with me. People want to be on your side, man. They're looking for a reason for you to I wouldn't say they're looking for a reason, but don't give them a reason to turn on you, man.
Yeah.
Just bring that good energy, man. It goes a long way. So I don't know, it's that not overthinking it, man, and just being comfortable with the fact that there's many different sides of who I am, and being comfortable with showing them all off, you know, and there's like a lot of balance with that I'm trying to find, you know, over the year, because I'm like kind of that goofy dude releasing stoner music videos, but at the same time I'm trying to be a professional in the in the community and in the industry, and do my thing in that way, and I think it's maybe like not always the most practical move, but I think it's an important move to make, to just show, to like, again, like kind of bridge gaps and show people that you know, you don't have to be in a box, for sure. It's a lot about that. That's what it's always going to come down to, I think, is not getting caught up in any expectations, because you don't need to put yourself in an expectation box.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
So sometimes this happens naturally, but for the first time in NSYNC Era podcast, I'm gonna open the floor for you if you have a few questions for me.
Oh my goodness gracious, man. Well, let me, you know, okay, so this is that's so interesting. Let's do it, man, because here's the thing. I've been thinking about doing this stuff because, you know, in the nature of like you know, making the people around me feel like rock stars and trying to do more of that type of thing, you know. We've been talking about doing this thing here at Open Mic where we ask, like, we go around and pull people aside during the event, you know, while it's all hype and the energy's there, and go, like, ask them something like, you know, give their name, whatever, where they're from, and then ask them to describe Park Theater Open Mic in 3 words or less.
Oh.
So that's what I'll pose for you. Just, I mean, I don't want to, I won't say anything because I don't want to, you know, guide it too much. But in 3 words or less, how would you describe what we do here at P Time?
Ooh, that's hard.
It could be a sentence, it could be a phrase, it could be 1 word, man. Like, it doesn't have to be 3, it can be 3 or less, you know, because sometimes 1 says it clearer.
See, the one that just keeps coming to my head now is like,
yeah, don't overthink it, man. Roll with it.
TV, man. TV.
Oh, okay.
TV.
Okay.
Television, TV. That's how I say it. TV.
Well, since we do have more than 3 words available at this point, like, well, how would you elaborate on that? TV, you know, it's because it's hype, or it's because what?
I'll say that, like I said, when I first like seen, you know, anything like just like a video preview of the last, like, you know, it's just everything, the angles, the excitement. It's like I felt like, wait a minute, this is here? Like, this is here.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, this is here the whole time.
Sure.
And this, like, it's big. First of all, the open mic is set up as if it's a show, because it's like, it ain't just a pop-up shop. You got to be on the list. So it's like, felt like public access television. It felt like local channel news. Felt like America's Got Talent. It just, that's all I can say as far as just the magnitude of, and it goes down here. It goes down in Park Theater.
I get it. I like that, man. I like that. I like that answer, because it feels like what you're saying is makes you feel like you're doing something important. Makes you feel like you're part of something.
Yes.
Makes you feel like you know, people are giving you your moment, right? Mm-hmm. Is that kind of the TV aspect of it, man? Like, yeah, I don't know, man. I like to think that people come in here with, and I say this all the time, that, you know, this ain't about me in here, and I always, you know, point out to the crowd and I say, and this ain't about you. This is an us thing, you know. And I think that's important. That's another thing, you know. Let's take it out to the streets. Take that vibe to the streets, because all that's important, man. I think the TV thing's cool, man. I can dig that. I can roll with that.
Yes. That's your only question? Any more?
Oh, man.
Any more? Before we continue, any more?
Well, all right. I mean, yeah, okay. I just don't want to, you know, I've been talking so much. I don't want to.
No, you're fine.
Well, let's go.
You're
Let's.
fine,
all right. Here's. I'll just get into the real shit. When are we gonna do a track together?
I was thinking that right when we started. I was thinking that because I remember I keep now I'm gonna keep it, but I do keep hitting you up. I actually got a couple track ideas, and actually I still got the beats. So listen, we gonna say it. Listen, it is happening this year.
Yeah.
LILEL and Jair, we gonna have some collaborations. We might even have a tape out. You never know. Like you
Let's
know.
do it.
And also, I'm gonna say this: They Was remix with LILEL and Jair will come out this year. I already got it because when I heard you sing they was like, especially for the Halloween show, and we recorded it live. I was like, wait a minute, he hit that.
What's funny about that is I didn't know that like. I knew the crowd was hearing it, but I didn't know it was going to be like in the multi-track recording. So I can only imagine what that sounds like.
It sounded good. I was like, I didn't like.
Man.
I know you can sing, but I know you can hit that high note with me.
Oh, that's funny.
Like to be honest, because I remember I'm just really like I'm up there. You know, I'm just in it. You know, I'm just in it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm like, you know, everybody saying ra da da da, and I just ra da da da. I was like.
I mean, yeah, I love playing your hype, man, when you come in here, man.
I love that. I
All
love
right.
it. And
I'm
you
glad,
did
I'm
your
glad.
research, too, because it's
sure.
like this. I'm telling you right now, everybody, a lot of people, like, they might, like, this is from my experience.
All
a lot
right,
of people,
give it to me.
when you reach out to them, right, they might either just skim through and just maybe see one thing, okay, I like it or I don't like it, or they look through it a little bit thoroughly, and they still say, oh, I like it or I don't like it. Or it's like people like you look through it completely, study, and then it's like replicate. I wasn't expecting you to be like, go L, go L. I was like, this man did his research.
Well, I watched a few things. No, yeah, I liked what I was seeing, man. I definitely did a little digging for sure, and I still follow your content for sure, man. Always dropping some dope reels and all that.
Oh yes,
stuff.
sir. Yes,
For sure. On the subject of collaboration, I mean, we don't have to get too much into like business talk right here, but I do have an idea for like I have like a live appearance coming up, and I don't know when this comes out, so I don't want to say anything official at all.
Got you.
So we'll just talk vaguely for the podcast. But I have an idea for I don't know. I've been thinking about it, and it would just be if you're into it. Like I have this hook right on this song. It's an already released track of mine.
Okay.
But I feel like it's one of those things where like the melodic hook and the verse kind of overlap a little bit. So you kind of like to do it the best way you could live. I feel like you'd want someone else doing the other part, and it's kind of like a falsetto-y part. So I don't know. It's something we could talk about doing.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
I don't know if you want to be in and give that a shot.
Yeah,
do a little
definitely.
feature on the hook for something live sometime, but
Definitely.
something we could talk about.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
man. Yeah, man.
Definitely. You done? You got one more? Or you good?
Shit.
Listen, this the first. Listen, this other than like if it's naturally happening in the conversation, this is the first. I was like, I told myself I'm gonna open the floor for the first time for a guest to ask a few questions to L. So if you got one more, hey, shoot that one more. You missed some good questions though, like good questions. you guys had some good questions.
Well, let's see. It's like, you know, how deep do I want to dig? You know, I feel like my first two were rather. Well, my first one was, you know, on topic. Second one was a little conversational. But let's see.
I don't care how deep you go. I will discuss it. I don't care.
well, man, listen. I guess this is what I want to know. Actually, you can say it or not say it because I don't know if it's something you publicly talk about. How old are you? I have no idea.
So
I'm 34.
So, all right, everybody. The ones that know, but I'm 22 going on 23.
All right.
But I have the soul of a 45-year-old from the 70s.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I'll agree with that.
I'm
I'll agree with that.
I'm a young old man, so we gonna keep it. We gonna keep it at that.
22, man.
In all honesty, I've always knew like I was ahead of my time because it was different things like I caught up on early. That's why that just comes with the the eccentric stuff and everything. A lot of things I caught up early at a younger age, and at the same time went through a lot of like grown man shit in like a span of 5 years.
Sure.
That like really like, I'm gonna be honest, it really humbled me. It really humbled me.
Had to like grow up fast kind of thing.
It was more of, this is the real world. This is real life.
Yeah.
What you thought it wasn't that. Like, I'll say from 18 to 22, it felt like 10 years. Like, you know, dropped out of college. Was going through, you know, was trying to find myself. I was isolation, you know. Had a few suicide attempts. Gonna be honest, you know, had a few suicide attempts, and I knew it wasn't meant for me to leave because I still was here. Fell in love with my music. Fell in love with crafting different things. Stayed in my room and just worked on me. Like, I had to learn how to love me. Like, in different other situations, you know, that, like I said, humbled me. I figured out who I was, and at the same time, what I liked. I was not afraid to say no anymore. I was not afraid to say, wait a minute, this is not my thing.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I wasn't afraid to say, oh, you know, I can't go out, you know, and you know, go over here with y'all because I'm working on my craft. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not my thing. I used to be afraid to say, I don't know anything. Like, if somebody say, you know how to do this? Oh, I know it. And then I go out there and I don't know it and get looked at as the fool, and I was the fool. Like, but
it's so important to be able to be comfortable saying I don't know, for sure.
Yes.
That's not something you see a lot of these days.
Mm-hmm.
It's people being comfortable saying they don't know about something. You know, a lot of people have a lot of strong opinions, and I of course I do too, but I think there's a lot of times when I don't, because I don't know enough, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people have some very strong opinions based on very little knowledge sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, that's cool to hear, man. That's cool to hear. That stuff's important. Man, sounds like you went through some stuff.
Oh yeah, I did. But I came out.
Yeah.
You know, I came out with, like I said earlier, about like not giving up, man. When I figured out how to complete a goal, and the first goal I actually really completed in life was the smallest one, but I was so happy because I could complete a goal.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm telling everybody, not to give up, because I used to be the one to give up.
Sure.
I used to be the one to give up. But then when I figured out, wait a minute, it's a process on what you have to go through for your growth to be able to achieve it, to know how to achieve it. Like, I didn't know how to achieve a goal until I was 19 years old.
Can I ask you something deep?
Go ahead.
I think like a lot of what's kept me feeling empowered throughout the years is the fact that, you know, my dad wasn't really, I don't have the best relationship with my dad and that kind of thing. Who does? But so I guess some people do. But, you know, my mom was always in my corner going like, I'm so proud of you. You can do anything. And I think that's always given me that like confidence to be the weird one or whatever, be the floater kid. And would you say, because based on what you're saying, I'm wondering, did you have that? And you can, you know, this is deep shit, but
I got you.
Like, did you have that? Did you have somebody like that getting your back throughout your childhood? Like, do you feel like you have people like that in your corner now? If you didn't,
I say like this. My mom is my cheerleader, bro. Like, my mom is my cheerleader.
That's what I love
you
to
know,
hear.
my mom
yeah.
is my mom is my cheerleader. She is my rock, you know.
It sounds like we can relate
It
on
used
a
to be
hell of a lot.
It
man.
used to be my grandmother until she passed away, but I felt like when my grandmother passed away, it broke the door of reality of, like, you know, I felt like when my grandma passed away, that's when I stepped into manhood, because like I felt like she was my shield. Like, I felt like, you know, she was gonna be around forever and all that. Shout out to all the cancer survivors, you know, from all cancers. You know, my grandma died of ovarian cancer, so shout out to all the cancer survivors. I support cancer awareness 100%. We can conquer it 100%. But after that, and yes, my father is in my life. You know, my father's in my life, and shout out to you, Dad. I don't know if you're gonna see this, but shout out to you, Dad. But I figured out that certain things in my life that maybe I didn't agree with my father, I was able to, once I had a new mindset after I was able to find myself, I could let all that other stuff in the past go. Like, a lot of people are not big on forgiveness. Don't get me wrong. We talked on it. We ain't perfect, y'all. It's stuff we still, got to deal with. You know what I'm saying? But it's the thing of, okay, listen. I understand everything that happened in the past, but I know that as far as my reality, that trauma doesn't exist anymore. That anger doesn't exist anymore. This is a new chapter, And I'm gonna be honest with you. Some of the things, I can honestly say some of the things, I'm not gonna say all the things, but some of the things right now that I remember from my father teaching me when I was younger, I can understand now, but I can understand it because I can understand based off our differences in personalities. My mom, like I said, she has been my rock. she is that support system. To her, I can't do no wrong, but she still get on me, but I know it's love. My mama has supported my career 100%. My mom has supported 100%. My mom, she's staying in Kalamazoo. Shout out to K-Zoo. And I'll say too, my brother, shout out to Station T. I love you, man. As an artist, I'll say this. Because even we get caught up in our peers thinking that they understand us, when some of our peers, to be honest, and it depends. Because I say it's different between friends, it's different between family, and different between acquaintance relationships. When I figured out who was in my corner, that was one of the sources to keep me level-headed, keep me balanced. The other source is just me finding within and staying in my craft, and at the same time, with my passion being, for me, my passion and my family, that is, because everything, for me, is like this. Not everybody that's blood or relatives doesn't mean that we are related, but as far as that family love, that don't mean we all have it. I can't say it for everybody, but everybody's situation is different. When I learned that, I was able to process on how I move forward in my life. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that, man. Mm-hmm. I love that. It's interesting. I mean, at 22, already saying that, being in that kind of place where you're saying, you don't hold grudges. You've let go of a lot of that anger and stuff. That's I mean, I think maybe my 20s were, my whole 20s was trying to not be angry, partying it away, kind of just living in a blur, living in a whirlwind, so I could distract myself from being angry. Because I've never been an angry person really, but I've had a chip on my shoulder throughout, like I was saying in my 20s and my teens, stuff like that. But I think I'm just now kind of getting to some of those realizations that you're speaking of. I think there's a little catch-up game been doing in my 30s here. Yeah. But it was a lot of lessons to learn, and I guess that's the way I needed to learn them, So everyone's timeline's different, so I don't feel bad about it now because I feel really good about where I'm at now, and I'm definitely glad I learned those things. But grudges are no good, man. Living with anger is no good. Ooh. Man, I could go on and on about negative vibes, but it's not good for you. It's not good for anyone else to sit in that kind of stuff. Yeah. You see a lot of, when I see negativity on, social media, it's like, man, you had to think about going to the computer. You had to think about bringing up that box or that app or your phone or whatever it is. You had to type it all up. You had to click send. You had all these chances to not do it, and you still did it. You still did something negative, and I've been guilty of that. But more and more, I just go what's that gonna do? What's that gonna do for me? Just being practical about it. I keep saying this thing that makes almost no sense, but being selfless is the most selfish thing you can do, kind of, and it's not really selfish, but that's kind of the way I keep saying it. But really what I mean is that being selfless is the most practical thing you can do, and that all goes back again to valuing the collective experience, putting others first, and it sounds all cliche and it sounds all campy or whatever, or something you would hear on a kid's show. But what they're not telling you, and I wish that they were saying all the time, is being selfless is not only good, and being kind is not only good, but it's the most practical thing you can do. It's going to be good for you. It's going to be good for your career, your mental state, your relationships. Like that stuff's not just like stuff that you put on a bumper sticker. It's like real shit. It's like practical shit to be selfless. Man, I can't oversay that enough. You know, it's practical to be selfless.
I learned this, right? And just like when you said, like, it's different between when you're being selfless to, I'll say like this, to the wrong people versus the ones that, like, I feel like it's all about genuineness than the ones that are trying to, like, snatch. Like, I feel like this. For an example, I feel like everybody, and a lot of people, I don't feel like really want to admit this, but I feel like everybody is being used for a service in a particular way. It is how you treat that service. It's how you attach yourself to that. It's what's purposely you're using that service for. Everybody is being used, but it depends on what you used it for. It's like, okay, use a venue. Okay, use a host. Okay, you know, in the contract, this host is being, you know, paid to do this, that, and the third. And it's different if you know, do something to that host in a negative way. If you give that host a hard time just because you want what the host is bringing, it's like it depends on the energy towards what you're using it for.
Sure.
But like if you're using it, I'm big in this thing called the law of attraction. If you're using it for a purpose that's not about suiting you well, but you know, something that's shifting, I feel like it's all about genuineness. But like if it's something like if you mislead it, then it's gonna go, that use is gonna go away from you. And so like I felt like too, in that sense of, wait a minute, being able to discern and being able to, first, one thing is ask yourself, is this really in your heart to do this, or are you doing this for that gratification of others, but you're inside, you're up, like you're upset, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. You know, maybe this is kind of what you're. Maybe this relates to kind of what you're saying. You know, here at P-Town, we try to talk. I like to kind of really instill a vibe that if you get up on this stage, it's kind of just me kind of saying the same old shit I've been saying, but in a different way, or whatever. But I just think you're gonna get the best experience on the stage again if you consider everyone else, man. Like it's just all. I can't say it enough. It's just the most practical thing you can do. Negative energy begets negative energy, man. If you're not going out there trying to be constructive, like here's the thing. What's that expression? Was it rising tides lift all boats? So if you're trying to lift up the people around you, that's gonna lift you up. That's gonna lift you up.
100.
If you know, one thing I've been talking about a lot too is, you know, a lot of people talk about leaving their hometown. I can't wait to get out of my hometown, right? But who's more equipped to fit? If you're home, if you want to get out of your hometown, what's wrong with it? If you know what's wrong, if you have a problem with it, you probably know what's wrong with it. And all that to say that you're probably the most equipped to fix what's wrong with it. You know, so you know it's fine to like leave your hometown. It's fine to explore whatever, you know, learn about the world. That's great. But you know, I think that's important to consider. Like if you got a problem with where you're from, or you got a problem with kind of anything, you might be the most equipped to fix that problem. You know, so take that into consideration sometimes, and realize, like, you know, if you lift up your community, it's gonna lift you up.
And you know what's so amazing about that, right? I'm gonna be honest. So we getting into some good stuff right here. Some good stuff.
Yeah, I know.
The thing is, right, I was that same way.
Yeah, man.
Previously, like almost 4 years ago, I was that same way. But you know what? I had missing puzzle pieces, and I had to come back. My job here wasn't finished. Yeah. It's like if you have a journey, it's like this. If you have a puzzle, the puzzle all has to be filled. You can't just skip and think that you're gonna go, like, no. Like, even if you try to go to the king, you still got to get everything off the board. So it's like, that was me. I'm being honest. That was me.
Yeah.
Like, And at the same time, it's like I said, I had to go. It was things that happened here, and I went all the way to Northwest Indiana. Like I said, love y'all, shout out y'all. And then it was like, all of a sudden, it was this thing inside me that was like, wait a minute, you not done yet. Like you still have to conquer home first. And I can't say that for everybody else's journey, but I just knew that, wait a minute, it was just something greater. It was something greater than just like, oh, let me just gather this North. Because I already have like thousands of fans in Mexico, like on the internet, just based off the internet.
Right on, man.
But as far as in proximity of the region and everything of, it was just Northwest Indiana. Come to find out after, and then it's like last year getting here on P Time, I have 2 fan bases in 2 states, Michigan and Indiana, in close proximity. And I never thought, but I had to take my pride away. I had to take my pride away and say, wait a minute. No, you can still do something. It's just that I had to take that pride in my head of like, oh, well, on that doubt, like, oh, are they gonna like me? Are they gonna, I'm this, I'm that, like, but I had to learn. I didn't ask nobody permission to do what I'm doing now, so I would ask somebody permission to do it. Like, no, like if I took the necessary precautions to say to myself, listen, this is what I love to do, and I don't care. I'm a break through that door. Why be afraid? And it was an elite fear. And once I broke through that wall of fear, procrastination, now, like you said, you might not have thought of maybe years back that you'll be in a position. I never thought that I would have fans in Michigan.
Yeah.
So I've been through that,
Man, it's putting yourself out there, ain't it?
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's how you learn. That's why I'm always saying, get on this stage, when you're part of this. I'm always telling, the people in the crowd, I really want to inspire the people who wouldn't necessarily ever think about getting up on this stage to do it. Because, and we've seen that happen for sure. We've seen people get up here and sing a song or do some spoken word or whatever who never thought that that's something that they were going to do. But, they leave, hopefully, learning something about themselves, kind of getting that satisfaction that I've gotten throughout the years with my art, going like, this is a little social experiment. I'm going to see what the reaction is. And there's a lot to learn from that kind of thing, So you just got to be like, I don't know. It's so easy to get caught up in all the cliches and say, like, be proud to be you. And, your flavor is going to be a flavor no one else is going to have if you really, really are genuine about it. If you don't overthink it, if you don't get caught up in those expectations, that's the stuff that makes that people look for. If you can do that on top of putting the people around you first, man, that's a cocktail right there. That's I guess that sounds like the moral of the story of this podcast right now.
Yeah.
Be you. Don't be afraid to put out every little flavor of who you are, man, because that's a recipe that people want to see. That's what gets people excited.
Yes.
That original thing. But yeah, you combine that with some selfless movements in the industry and in the community. Damn, you're gonna go places.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna go places.
Yes, sir. So, last question. This has been amazing. This has been amazing.
We got to it, man. I started out feeling a little rough about it, but now
I see how you came in here and everything. I seen it. I was like, yeah, we're gonna loosen them up. we're gonna loosen them up.
Now we're getting into that stuff that gets me excited. I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, appreciate you for taking the time. I understand that time for people. I feel like time for everyone is very valuable.
Oh,
and so
man.
I really appreciate this because I know this is gonna help shift the culture, and especially with different things that I want to do by the way of what I possibly do, and then your help and the community's help to help expose more of the culture, the musical culture of of Holland, and then push it past the borders of Michigan. I want to do it because at the same time it's like, why not? It's like I want other people. That's why I've hit other people up from Grand Rapids and Northwest Indiana. To, like, come down here. Like, come down. Experience this. Come down here.
Yeah, man. And I hope they're walking away with some different vibes, some different mindsets, and taking that into other places. I really want this to spread. That's where I'm at with my career now. Is I love all the art. I love the performances. I love people getting up on the stage and doing their poetry, their music. That's what got me into it originally. Was I love music. But and then that got me into appreciating all sorts of different art forms and yada yada. But the stuff that gets me excited about what we're doing at an event like this is just because I can't overstate it. It's the community building aspect.
Yes.
We're bringing people together that necessarily, all different ages, all different, styles of clothes, all different, just lifestyle, whatever it is. But people come in this room and this is one thing I really would love to see out, in the streets, out in the community is people don't want to spoil the vibe. Man, I'm going to put that on T-shirts or something. Don't spoil the vibe. Because why don't people are happy to spoil the vibe all the time. I'm not a cynic, but people are happy to spoil the vibe, and I've been that person, so I don't mind saying it. But like again, not to talk too much about social media, but that's one of those places where it's easy to go like, I'm just gonna ruffle feathers, man. Yeah. I'm gonna just say something to spoil the vibe here. I'm gonna just put something shitty out there just because I can. But man, if people came out, to the streets, came to their community, the same way people come into this room with that, I don't want to spoil this vibe. I want to, people are shushing other people when there's a spoken word on stage. People are clapping along. People are making sure that we're all in it together. It's a real teamwork thing, and I just want to see that in the community, man. I want to see that on the streets. I want people to not live with that don't spoil the vibe kind of thing. And if anything, I'll make the vibe better.
Yes.
Complement the vibe.
Yes. So the last question. Boy, this been so good. Oh, I can't wait to edit this when I get to the house. So
yeah, cut out all that random shit from the beginning.
No.
Probably a couple times write it a couple long. Get those out of there. Or add some reverb, man. Make it auto-tune them bitches.
Sound like somebody leaning. Like, man, Jair's in there leaning. When the auto-tune, Jair's in there leaning. So the one thing that I noticed as artists, I think I kind of said it earlier before, is that fuel within self. Like, I'll say, for me, an example, because for me, I can best explain with examples, but like, for me, when I feel like I'm hitting rock bottom, like if I feel like it's just been like a challenging week, man, like, and I'm gonna be honest, and I don't care about none of that toxic masculinity. I don't care about none of that stuff. That toxic masculinity does, men can't, No, I don't care about none of that toxic masculinity shit. I don't give a fuck. Sometimes, of course, when I'm at that point where, I'm crying, I'm trying to release, tension, and it's like that music, me going back and seeing the different things I've created, me going back and seeing how I have been selfless and shifted the culture, or just like remembering those different moments in time, going back to, listening to different music. Like, for me, my source is literally the music, my inspiration from my mom, my inspiration from different people, different, I wouldn't say role models as much, but like different people I was inspired that kind of formed the L experiment, like, of how I do my music. What is that source for you?
It's something I kind of have been touching on throughout, but it started out, not to sink back into my old cliches here, but it started out, I wanted all eyes on me, man. I didn't know why that was. and I think I was trying to figure it out along the way, you know. I definitely been, you know, I liked attention as a kid, you know, as in my 20s, all that stuff, you know. But I think you know, it was a lot of kind of just acting out kind of stuff, you know. But now I do it, you know. I think I do it because I want to show people that they can do it, you know. The reason I create is, and the reason I, you know, lean more and more into this, like, not overthinking it and just being the most genuine version of myself I can be, is because I want that to rub off on others. I want to hopefully inspire others with it, you know. It's all that, you know. I used to want to be a rock star, but now I want everyone else around me to feel like a rock star. And you know what? I tell you, if you do that, you're going to be a rock star.
Yes, sir.
Real rock stars make the rest of the room feel like rock stars.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's where it's at.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's where it's at.
Man, shout out, plug yourself. Shout out all your info. Shout out all that.
Oh, dude, so check this out. My website just went live today.
Yes, sir.
So I'll drop that. That's my first time getting to drop that. So it's perfect. So that's Jair, Jair. That's how you spell my name. I'm sure it's in the description or whatever of this, but Jair.me. So Jair.me. Awesome. Go check it out. It's kind of got a little bit of a nutshell of everything you might want to know about what I'm, you know, getting into.
Yes.
Be that Brother Adams or the Park Theater or, you know, my hip hop stuff or yada yada. Then, you know, Instagram and like Facebook, all that stuff. I think it's like Brother Jair. YouTube, it's gonna be Jair Bear. YouTube.com/Jair Bear.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, that I think that's the basis of it, man. Of course, go buy my stuff on Bandcamp.
Yes.
You know,
buy it.
And that's just brotherjair.bandcamp.com. But also all my stuff, you know, I've been doing like the Jair project for, you know, since around COVID, like 2-3 years now. But I wasn't dropping, you know, like I said, that project kind of came out of nowhere. So I didn't know, I wasn't taking it that serious. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. But as it's, you know, as I've leaned into it more, as people have had fun with it, I've decided to put all that stuff on Spotify. So all that stuff's been dropping on Spotify.
Yes.
And back to lunch break. That one's gonna actually drop on Valentine's Day. I don't know when this comes out, but it's dropping on Valentine's Day this year. So that's pretty cool on Spotify, you know, finally gonna be able to stream that one, you know.
Yes.
So hopefully it does something good with the algorithm too while it's out there.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. Oh,
You know,
yeah.
That's one thing I want to say, you know, I'll leave
ahead,
on this.
go ahead.
Don't stop promoting your old stuff though.
Yeah.
Just because it feels old to you doesn't mean it's not going to be someone else's first time seeing it, and it might even be like like somebody who you would have expected would have seen it, you know, every time you shared it on social media or wherever. Keep sharing your old shit because it might be someone's first experience with it, and you never know how it's going to hit them, you know. So, you know, putting out lunch break like that, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's going to be good for it, and maybe it'll have a whole new life. Who knows? Yeah.
100%. Hey. Today, this episode is brought to you by NSYNC Era Network.
Right on.
Brought to you by NSYNC Era Radio. Pretty much coming up soon. NSYNC Era News, the newspaper. We gonna get it. Also, Lil L. Today, this also has been presented in the proximity of Park Theater. So. Thank you so much, Jair, for this amazing, this one of the ones. This is an amazing episode.
Thanks for letting me ramble, man. You really let me go.
yes, because the thing is like this. For me, I've learned, because for me, I'm a long-winded talker. Like I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm a long-winded talker, but I guarantee you, at least 10 sentences is gonna spark your brain.
Hey,
at least 10 sentences is gonna spark your brain.
Yeah.
You know. So, and at the same time, everything is so constructed and so gatekeep to the point to where it's like people can't explain and just be themselves. They have to go by a script. I don't like that.
I like that, man. I mean, that goes all back into what we've been saying, man. Put it all out there. Put every shade of yourself out there. I guess that's right, man. I shouldn't be worried about if a few things I said were stinkers. If there was a few gems in there, we did our job.
Yes, sir.
And if I didn't let those stinkers come out, maybe we wouldn't have got to those gems, you know?
Yes.
So keep trying, keep plugging, you know?
Yes.
It's that don't give up thing. I like that, man.
Yes.
You that's a good vibe for me to hear on the way out, man.
Oh, yes.
So I appreciate that.
Definitely. Don't give up. We out of here. In Synch Era Podcast, your boy Lil L, and we was live in the Park Theater. Yeah!
Woo woo.